TV. I tell you, hard work is the key, but this is what can happen when you dream. I'm Jeremy Lin.
Oh, beautiful pass from Lin. The magic of Jeremy Lin continues.
Never know when you gon' get up in the game, but he made his moment count in the biggest of ways. In New York City, the world's greatest stage, 20,000 rabid fans scream his name. Didn't quit, he only worked harder. Went from Harvard graduate to NBA starter. And even if it only lasts a moment, Jeremy Lin took it and owned it. You gotta respect it. Undrafted, the talk of the league, from afterthought to all over TV. I tell you, hard work is the key, but this is what can happen when you dream.
Just be aggressive. Man.
That Jeremy Lin is the real deal.
Switches to the right, lays it up in air. Lots of Chandler catches and finishes at the rim.
Sees exactly what this team needs.
Jeremy just took it right down the middle. Beautifully done.
Somebody got to come with a real nickname. I don't like this Linsanity and Lincredible.
The revelation that is Jeremy Lin continues to captivate this Garden crowd.
Yes, there's already a wrap, and here's how Jeremy Lin first got into our hearts in November '09.
Goes up the right hand, lays it in. 3 seconds left. Harvard back the other way, down by a point. Jeremy Lin flips it midcourt, lays it in, he's fouled. Harvard wins it. Harvard wins it. Unbelievable. Jeremy Lin, an unbelievable shot, and Harvard has won in the most improbable of fashions. I don't believe it.
Jeremy Lin, the legend, would grow at Harvard, put together a huge game back in '09. He led the Crimson against 13th-ranked UConn with 30 points, 9 boards, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, but UConn would prevail. The Mavs were the first team to show interest in the undrafted Lin. He showed up in the Summer League battling the #1 pick, John Wall. He had 13 points in 27 minutes. Lin would later sign with the Warriors. After riding the bus between the Warriors bench and the D-League all season long, Lin scored a dozen points and recorded career highs with 5 boards and 5 dimes on the last day of the season. Lin spent 1 day in the D-League this year. He had a triple-double in his first significant minutes of his career last Saturday. He took advantage, burning Darren Williams and the Nets for 25 and 7 off the bench, leading the Knicks to a win. Wait until he goes up against a real defense, they said. Well, Lin blew away all expectations, dropping 38 in the win over the Lakers.
Let's go to that Laker game. Lin averaging 23 points in his last 3 games. First quarter, Knicks up 7. Lin with the steal. He had 2 in the game, and the easy buckets. New York 9-point lead. Later in the second quarter, Lin again doing work, the floater and the foul. He would make the free throw, and New York up by 12. Later in the second, you're getting the rhythm of these highlights. It's all Lin making the spin move. You can't stop Linsanity. You can only hope to control it. Knicks by 9. Third quarter, floater over Bynum. Knicks by 10. And finally in the fourth quarter, Lin one more time, this time being fancy with the reverse layup. He had 38.7 assists and a Knicks win at 92-85. We welcome in now our ESPNNewYork.com's Knicks beat writer, Ian Begley. Ian, Linsanity, if it's crazy here, I'm sure it's nuts in New York. How's it been covering the team?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. I mean, you're talking about a guy no one was even really discussing about 10 days ago, and now he's all of a sudden the biggest story in the NBA and one of the biggest stories in sports. So, you know, yesterday, Friday morning shoot-arounds, usually you get about 5 media members there, and there was 30 people at the Knicks facility. Everyone wanted to talk to Jeremy Lin. There was even 3 outlets from Asia. So it's been a bit of a zoo. And also, you notice a different energy in Madison Square Garden. One thing that stuck out in my mind last night was with about 4 minutes to go, Lin knocked down a 3 after the ball was batted out by Tyson Chandler, and Madison Square Garden just exploded. I mean, it felt like the roof was going to come off the place. It was the loudest I had heard it this season, and that's including the player intros before the opener. So, you know, certainly there's a renewed buzz around the team and in Madison Square Garden.
So we talk about the city and MSG, but what has the impact been of Lin on that team?
You know what? I think guys have a renewed energy now that Jeremy seems to have taken the reins. You know, to be honest with you, it was a morgue in that locker room about 10 days ago when the team had lost 11-13. You know, they were 7 games under 500. People were openly discussing Mike D'Antoni's job status, and it just was an unpleasant vibe in there. But now, you know, guys have loosened up, and guys seem relaxed and fired up about taking the court with this guy. And, you know, you see a Tyson Chandler who is now much more involved in the offense with Lin running the show. And you have Landry Fields, who seems to regain the form we saw out of him in the first half of last season. And then you look at a guy like Steve Novak, who has emerged from out of nowhere off the bench. And I think it's all a product of Lin creating the proper spacing on the floor, getting open looks for his guys, and guys are really willing to go the extra mile for Jeremy right now.
You talk about the media being all over him, asking questions left and right. 3 Asian outlets asking for Jeremy Lin. How's the Harvard grad handling all the fame?
You know, it is interesting to see how he handles it. I think he's done a great job so far. He's very understated. He's humble in interviews. He thanks God. He mentions God in each of his interview sessions. And we asked him Friday morning how he's handled all the attention. He said he and his family have been a bit overwhelmed by everything because they're very private people, and, you know, everybody seems to want a piece of them these days. So it has been a bit overwhelming, but they do appreciate all those Lin nicknames out of there. Lin said he and his mom and dad were sitting around laughing the other night because they had underestimated how creative people could get with his last name, which I thought was pretty funny.
Well, now everything good and great, but what happens when Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire return to the lineup?
To me, that's one of the most intriguing storylines as we look ahead with this Knicks team. You know, I think Amari Stoudemire is going to benefit because Jeremy Lin runs the pick and roll so well, and Amari is one of the best pick and roll big men in the NBA. But I think the more intriguing aspect in that question is Carmelo Anthony. Because Lin has had the ball in his hands an awful lot over the past 4 games, and Anthony, as you know, is a guy who needs the ball in his hands to succeed. He has one of the highest usage rates in the NBA, so it certainly bears watching as to what the balance will be between Carmelo Anthony and Jeremy Lin once Carmelo returns to the court.
Our ESPNNewYork.com's Knicks beat writer Ian Begley will be with the Knicks tonight when they take on the T-Wolves.